After a shocking last friendly against Iceland, I wanted to take on the difficult task of picking my England starting 11 for the Euros. This is the team that Gareth Southgate needs to field for England to reach its full potential. The full potential should be winning the tournament, but I have very little confidence we're going to do that. Let's kick off with the goalkeeper, an obvious choice in Jordan Pickford. Pickford is not always someone that I've actually shouted for at England. I think similar to Maguire, who's now left the squad, he has always done well in an England shirt, but not particularly well at his club. However, this year, he has had a storming season at Everton. One of the main reasons that they quickly floated away from that relegation battle, their player of the season, which says all you need to know. And for me, there is no doubt that Pickford starts for England. Ramsdale just doesn't look confident between the sticks, does he? It's a real shame that he lost his spot at Arsenal, because I think he could have been the future England goalkeeper and still could. But if he doesn't get a move away from Arsenal, I don't really see him ever becoming the starting choice goalkeeper. Right back, Kyle Walker. Easy, one of the best right backs in the world for a number of years. Maybe slightly worse in an England shirt, but still pretty consistent. Obviously, we've got Trippier as well, who can cover and maybe come on for a little bit. Maybe Walker has to drop into centre-back at some point. It depends how we lay the team out. But for me, Kyle Walker at right back, two centre-backs. Kyle Walker's teammate, John Stones. He's been one of the best centre-backs in the world for a number of years, and I think is one of the biggest losses should he become injured during this tournament. I think if John Stones misses a stint of games, our defence will absolutely crumble. He is the gel that holds it all together, and for me is the only world-class centre-back that England have had available for the last couple of years. My second centre-back choice. Now, I probably would have gone for Harry Maguire, but of course his injury has left him out of the squad for the Euros, and it's a real shame, because as much as I'm not a huge fan of him at club level a lot of the time, I do think that with international football, because of the number of games these players play together, you need consistency across the back line and players who actually have played with each other in these tournaments before. So no, Maguire is actually quite a big miss. And really, you could throw a couple different people in there. I've gone Gay. He's got a little bit of pace. He's quite solid at the back. But to be honest, I'm not actually too touchy on this one. I'd even be tempted to move Walker into right back and play Trippier on the right. It's a really tricky decision, but I'm going to go Gay. Play an actual centre-back in centre-back. I do think playing players in the strongest position where you can is always the best option. So Gay is the second centre-back. Left back, it's got to be Luke Shaw. It's a shame we don't really have any other options bar Luke Shaw, but he has always been good for England, and let's just pray he stays fit, because he's one of the most injury-prone players in the squad. Of course, we've got Joe Gomez, who can play there as well. I haven't mentioned him for any of the other positions, but he is a player who will definitely come in handy at some point throughout this tournament, because we're going to end up with some injuries. He is a good player to have around the squad. Two more defensive central midfielders in my lineup, and they are Declan Rice, one of the best centre mids in the world. Maybe not as defensive as he used to be, though. Could that be an issue? With my lineup particularly, it's really not very defensive, because that's not how I think we should play with the players that we have at our disposal. But Rice can drop back and can defend quite well still. You don't want to limit him to that, though, because he's a very good attack-minded player. Since joining Arsenal, he has showed attributes to his game, or developed attributes in his game that weren't on show previously. So you want him to have a little bit more freedom. And my second, more defensive central midfielder is actually Trent Alexander-Arnold. One of the best passers of the ball in the squad, one of the most creative players, can help at set pieces as well. I think we've got to squeeze Trent in there, and I think that more defensive midfield position definitely works. I would say that he'll help out at the back more than Declan Rice will. But to be honest, for Liverpool this season, Trent's defensive work has been very poor. You would hope that he's still got some of those defensive abilities in there. But if you're playing him as a centre mid / CDM, how much is he actually going to drop back? It's impossible to say. Those two players, with the passing range that they have, should be able to completely unlock the amazing attacking players that we have. Let's move on to those. Centre attacking midfielder, Jude Bellingham. What a season he's had at Real Madrid. What a couple seasons he had at Borussia Dortmund as well. A really good player who has developed massively over the course of this season. And I think he's someone that can also work a little bit off Harry Kane, hopefully grab a couple goals. I know he didn't set the world alight in the Champions League final, but for Real Madrid this season, he has played as a false nine a couple times, even up top for a couple games. So he's clearly got that about him. He's currently the most valuable player in the world. He's got to be in the starting lineup. And it's a real shame that he pushes the left winger, which is Phil Foden, out onto the left. Because I said earlier in the video, I'm a big fan of playing players in their proper position. And Phil Foden has been one of the most exciting players in the Premier League this season. He's finally started to reach full form. We've been waiting for that year where he plays every game. De Bruyne's carried on with injury issues. He's even talking about going to Saudi now. And that's allowed Foden to step into that centre attacking midfield role and flourish. Got to go on the left wing though. Again, you've got to get him in the team. He's got to be in there, and left wing isn't his best position. He doesn't look as strong there at all. It's not where he can do his best work, but there's not much we can do about it. Moving on to the right wing. Right wing, it's between two players, isn't it? Cole Palmer and Bukayo Saka. And I actually really struggled to make my choice here. And in the end, I went with Cole Palmer. Hear me out, Arsenal fans. Hear me out. I love Saka, and I think he's a fantastic talent and one of the best players we actually have at our disposal. He scored 4 in Euros qualifiers, but 3 of those came against Macedonia. Doesn't really fill me with confidence. In the previous World Cup, he scored 2 goals against Iran and 1 against Senegal. I don't know. I just feel like Saka struggles against better teams. If someone's got a good fullback, I don't see as much coming from Saka as I do from Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer has had one of the best breakout seasons we've seen in the Premier League for a number of seasons. And for that reason, while he's high on confidence, he needs to be in the starting lineup. Also a fantastic penalty taker. We've seen him score one the other day. I just think he's got to be in there. I think maybe in the group stage, you can play a mixture of those two and see who has performed the best, giving them more confidence to go into the knockout stages, assuming we make it there. I do think that we'll get through that still. I don't know. I think that, let me know in the comments, actually, who would you start on the right? Cole Palmer or Bukayo Saka? Because I really can't make my mind up. I've gone Palmer, but it's tough. It's tough. And then, of course, up top, there's only one man for the job, and that is Harry Kane. Going to the Bundesliga, having a storm of a season at Bayern Munich. I know they didn't end up winning the league, and there's a lot of memes and stuff. You know, will Harry Kane ever actually win a major trophy? Maybe it could be the Euros. Highly doubtful, but he is the best striker in the world, isn't he? Like, he just is and has been for a couple seasons now. Obviously, other players come and go, but Harry Kane, not only the work he does to put the ball in the back of the net, also with the hold-up play and his ability to assist those other Bellingham, Palmer and Foden up top with Harry Kane, I trust him to pick the ball up and get some assists as well. Excited to see what he does in this tournament, and I really hope he can bring it home. It's tough for Ollie Watkins, though. And I was tempted to try change the formation around for this team and get Ollie Watkins in there because, let's be real, he's had the same amount of goal involvement in the Premier League this season as Erling Haaland. So how can we not have him in the squad? It feels criminal, or in the starting 11, sorry. But he just can't, because it's Harry Kane, and then you can't drop Foden, who's on the left, and then you can't drop either Saka or Palmer, who's on the right, and you want Bellingham playing at cam, so there's not really much room to juggle around with the attacking side of the squad. I'm sure that Watkins will play a role, and I think that he'll probably even pick up a couple goals, because with the form he's on going into the World Cup, he's flying on a high, and that's the difference between a player and like Saka, for example, who, I know Arsenal had a good season, but it was all on winning the league, and they left without a trophy. Not even a trophy, getting knocked out by Bayern Munich, who everyone expected them to beat in the Champions League. Watkins has just achieved top form, one of Villa's biggest feats in decades. It's a shame. It's a shame for him. I think Wharton will play a role. When picking my midfield, I was tempted to put Wharton in for Trent or even Mainoo in for Trent, but I think we need to get someone in that midfield who is confident on the ball and can pick a pass. Wharton, if we're winning a game, great to come on. Mainoo, if we're winning a game, great to come on. I think those two add a little bit more defensive stability, but due to their ages, lack of experience at big tournaments and even in big matches for a lot of them, I think it's just got to be Trent. It is, again though, I do see Wharton and Mainoo playing a part. Gomez, I already mentioned, can play across the back line. I'm sure we'll see him. Let's go over my full England starting 11. This is the team that can win the Euros. Goalkeeper, Jordan Pickford. Right back, Kyle Walker. 2 centre-backs of John Stones and Guéhi. It's got to be Luke Shaw at left back. And then I've gone with 2 more defensive centre midfielders in Declan Rice and Trent Alexander-Arnold. An attacking midfielder of Jude Bellingham. And then a front 3, we've got Cole Palmer on the right, Harry Kane up top, and on the left wing, it's got to be Phil Foden. I hope you've enjoyed watching this video. I hope we all enjoy watching the Euros. Let me know in the comments down below what you think of my starting 11, and please leave your starting 11 as well. I'm intrigued to see there's such a big difference in a lot of people's teams. I want to know what other people are lining up like. Give me the full starting 11 in the comments. Please do remember to like and subscribe. We'll be live for some of the Euros games, and there'll be plenty of match reactions, and we'll be discussing what's going on throughout the tournament. I appreciate your time. Peace.